In this video, we're going to discuss what spot metal pricing is in the Edge. The spot metal pricing method was added to allow you to sell certain items by metal price. You will be able to put in a cost per gram or pennyweight that you bought these items for. You will be able to put a labor price per each item and a labor cost per each item. When you sell these items at point of sale, you will type the number and it will ask you what that item weighs. When you type that in, it will take whatever you have set as the current gold price, mark it up by the category markup, and add the labor price to it to sell that item. In this video, we're going to go over the setup, creating a category, creating an item, and then selling an item at point of sale. So the first thing we're going to look at is there's two things that need to be set in order for this to work. Under administrative and under advanced settings, there's metal setup. The default metals are in here that come out in the Edge. You can add other metal types or you can change your purity values for these metals. So here you'll see that we have 24, 22, 18, 14, and 10. All of these metal types in the Edge map to gold pricing, and then it has the purity for each of those metals. So it knows how to figure out what cost or what price to use when you choose that many grams or pennyweight in this metal range. So setting those up first is important. Once that's set up, there's also a metal prices tab under inventory. Metal prices is where you would set your current metal pricing for gold, silver, platinum, palladium, depending on what you're using. There is a link to Kitco here to grab those prices. There is also a system option that will force the gold price to be updated once a day, even at point of sale, when you're going to make a sale of spot metal pricing. That's all the setup that there is for spot metal. The next thing we have to do is adding a spot metal category. So we're going to go to categories and we're going to go to add. You're going to give it a category number that you are currently not using. I'm just going to call this spot metal. The type is going to be bulk. The important thing is that the pricing method is set to spot metal pricing. You will need to choose which unit of measure you are using for spot metal. So I'm going to choose grams. Just like any other category, there is a pricing. The pricing tab is what do you want to mark up the current metal pricing. So if the metal pricing comes in at $43.55 per gram, what do you want to charge per gram? So if you were to put 1.2 in here, it'll multiply the metal price by 1.2. If you wanted to sell at 98% of the metal price, you could put 1.98. So you can set that either above or below the current metal pricing. So I'm going to set mine to 1.25. Details, if you want to collect details like style, size, things like that, this is where you can create your detail fields for the category. There is a video on Edge User that explains how to create those. The tag, this is where you're going to set up the tag layout. Again, if you want more details on how to set up a tag layout, there is a video on how to set up tag layouts on edgeuser.com. The one other thing we have to do before we get out of here is decide what taxes apply to this particular category. So I'm going to choose one, and now I'm going to save that. Now our spot metal category is set up. We are now going to enter an item that will be used in spot metal pricing. So just like any other item, we're going to go to items, add items. We're going to choose our spot metal category. We're going to choose the vendor that we bought these from, or we're going to put ourselves as the vendor if we're the ones who are making it. You're going to choose a style. This one item is always going to be the same thing. So if you have multiple different types of rings that have different labor prices and labor costs, you're going to need to have one number for each of those. So this happens to be my butterfly ring. So I'm going to have my style in here. And the next thing it's always going to ask is, what did you pay per gram for these rings? So if I bought at $32.50 a gram, if there's an invoice number, we're going to put that in. And then we're going to put a description. And then we're going to say how many grams we have at our store. If you're separating between stores, you would have to tell me that. So if I have 126 grams in total that I'm putting in, that's what I'm going to put there. It doesn't ask for the number of rings. It doesn't care. Every time you use this item number, it will count as one ring. Metal type. You need to tell me which metal type this should be mapping to. So we're going to say 14 karat. That's how it's going to know how to price these items when we sell them. Back on the General tab, there's one last thing we have to fill in: the labor price and the labor cost. Every time you sell this item, it's going to add the labor price to the piece. So if I'm going to say I'm adding $75 for labor for each of these rings, and what was my labor cost to create them? So if my labor cost was $25, I'm going to put that there. So now when these sell, it's going to use the cost of $32.50 per gram and the one-time cost of $25 to figure out how much that particular item costs. When it sells, it's going to take the current gold price. No matter what's here, it's going to take the current gold price, figure it out for 14 karat, multiply that by the grams, and then add 1.25, and then it's going to add that $75 in labor. So now if this is everything I want, I would say OK, save and close. And now I have one spot metal priced item entered into my system, and that is item number 88-1. Now we're going to go over what that looks like when we sell it at point of sale. So when we go to point of sale, just like always, we would choose who is selling this and who we are selling it to. If you had a barcode, you could just scan it. I'm going to hit sell item, and I'm going to type 88-1. Comes up on my description and allows me to adjust it because this one happens to be, let's say, a size 6.5. It is going to ask me how many grams. So I am going to choose 2.5 grams. So now, based on what I've put into the system, it is going to figure out the price for that item. I'm going to bring the calculator up here, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take the price of that item. I'm going to minus my $75. I am going to divide that by 2.5 because that's how many grams I have. And then I'm going to divide that by my markup. And I get back to 43.54, which is actually 43.55, which is what my current gold price is set to when I bring it down to 14 karat and gram. So that's how this price came up. You can still adjust a price just like anywhere else. And then once they've paid for it, they are just going to get a receipt that shows them that they bought this 14 karat yellow gold butterfly ring size 6.5, and it's 2.5 grams. The grams will always show on the receipt. And that is how spot metal pricing will work in the Edge.